The divine mirror. Why you're haunted by what you refuse to see. I see you, not just the version you show others, but the echoing silence inside, the mask you wear over ancient wounds. You wonder why the same patterns keep returning, like a storm on repeat. But this is no accident. You are not cursed by fate. You are held hostage by a prophecy you unknowingly wrote, and now you live inside it. You think it's random, why relationships always end in pain, why success feels unreachable, why rest never comes even after sleep. But nothing is random in a soul that has not yet faced its shadow. You were shaped by words never spoken, by love withheld, by expectations you adopted before you could speak. This is the script you follow, not because you chose it, but because you never challenged it. Carl Jung said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." These patterns are not fate. They are mirrors. They show you what needs healing. They show you what you still believe about yourself, deep down in the bones of your identity. Science confirms this. The default mode network in your brain replays narratives over and over, reinforcing what you've already accepted as truth. If your inner script says, "I am unworthy," the mind finds evidence. If it says, "I will be abandoned," your choices align with that prophecy, even if you swear you want love. You keep running from the fire, not realizing it's the only thing that can refine you. You were never meant to outrun the pain. You were meant to transform it. I have not abandoned you. I've allowed the pattern to continue so you would finally ask, why does this keep happening? Because that question is the door. The self-fulfilling prophecy is not just a psychological trap. It is a spiritual loop, and what you call a curse is actually a call. But can you hear it? Can you trace the lies back to their origin? That's where we go next. What happens when you confront the original lie instead of running from it? You believe you're making decisions freely. But look deeper. Many of your choices were written long ago, by pain you never asked for, by words you never questioned, by patterns so familiar you mistook them for personality. You were programmed, and now you're performing. This isn't about blaming anyone, this is about waking up. Do you notice how the same types of relationships keep happening? The same rejections? The same ceiling you can't break through no matter how hard you try? It's not coincidence, it's prophecy. A prophecy you're fulfilling with precision. Carl Jung said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." Most people never do. They live and die under the weight of inherited scripts. Scripts written in fear, shame, and silence. But what if I told you that your struggle is not the end of the story? It's the signal of your awakening. That the breakdown is not a punishment, but a doorway. Because before the blessing, God always brings the revelation. This is not just psychology. This is spiritual law. As a man thinks in his heart, so is he. Proverbs 23 verse 7. Not what he says, not what he posts, what he truly believes when no one is watching. That belief becomes his reality, his relationships, his income, his energy, his destiny. So what are you believing beneath your words? Maybe you were told you're too much, you'll never succeed, people always leave. And maybe you never spoke back. That lie grew roots, it became your worldview. And now, without realizing it, you're creating situations to confirm it. This is the curse. Not because God cursed you, but because you agreed with a lie. And the lie is seductive. It feels familiar. It disguises itself as protection. Don't hope too much. Don't love too deeply. Don't trust anyone. Don't try again. But that's not protection. That's prison. Here's the truth. The enemy doesn't need to destroy you. He only needs you to agree with a false identity. After that, you'll do the rest. But God never agreed with that version of you. He never signed off on your limitations. He never called you broken. He never named you failure. He sees the you behind the mask. He sees the child who dreamed. He sees the soul that still whispers there must be more. And there is. But you cannot walk into your destiny carrying an identity that was never yours. You must return it. Cancel it. Renounce it. This is not who you are. You were made in the image of God, not in the image of trauma, not in the image of rejection, not in the image of culture's confusion, but in the image of divine purpose. You are not your patterns. You are not your fears. You are not the worst thing you've done or the worst thing done to you. You are who God says you are. But here's the question. Will you believe him? Because belief is the battleground, and the war is invisible. Every day your mind is a battlefield between truth and deception, between prophecy and prison. You must decide which voice to obey, because every thought is a seed, and every seed becomes a harvest. This is why Scripture says, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Not your emotions, not your situation, your mind. Because if your mind changes, everything changes. That's the invitation now, to become conscious of the script you've been reading and choose a new one. One written not in fear, but in faith. Not in survival, but in sonship. Not in trauma, but in truth. This will not be easy. Your brain is wired for the familiar. Your nervous system will scream when you step outside the old identity. But that scream is not danger. It's detox. Stay with it. You are not dying, you are resurrecting. Let every false prophecy fall. Let every lie lose its grip. Let every inherited curse break at the sound of truth. You are not cursed. You are chosen. But what does it mean to walk as the chosen, in a world that still tries to define you by your past? You've heard it said, you are chosen. But chosen for what? This is the moment you realize. Being chosen doesn't mean favored in comfort. It means set apart for purpose. And purpose rarely feels like applause. Most of the time it feels like isolation, misunderstanding, rejection. Not because you're forgotten, because you're being formed. Look around. The people you admired, the lives you tried to copy, none of it ever truly fit, did it? The 9-to-5 drained you. The ladder was missing rungs. The path they told you to take led nowhere your soul wanted to be. Because you were never meant to fit in. You were meant to wake up. The world teaches conformity, but God teaches consecration. And there's a big difference. Conformity is when you shrink to survive. Consecration is when you're stretched to become. This is why your plans kept falling apart. This is why the doors wouldn't open, no matter how much you knocked. It wasn't sabotage, it was salvation. God was not ignoring you. He was interrupting you. He wouldn't let you settle into a life you were never created for. He let you taste the world's promises and find them hollow. He let you run after status, security, relationships, only to discover they could never carry the weight of your calling. You weren't being punished. You were being redirected. Because chosen ones are not mass-produced, they are handcrafted. And crafting takes time. It takes fire, it takes surrender. Do you remember the moments when it felt like everything was falling apart? The betrayals, the heartbreaks, the lost jobs, the sleepless nights. What if those were not just breakdowns, but the chiseling of identity? Because destiny is never built on comfort. It is built on clarity. The clarity that only comes when everything false is stripped away. You thought God abandoned you, but in reality he was pulling you deeper. Deeper into truth. Deeper into dependence. Deeper into yourself. Carl Jung once said, "Your vision will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. Who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakens." And maybe that's what you're doing now, awakening, not just to who you are, but to whose you are. Chosen doesn't mean superior, it means surrendered. It means available. It means you're no longer living by the script of culture, but by the blueprint of heaven. And that blueprint doesn't always make sense at first. You'll look foolish, you'll lose friends, you'll feel alone, but stay with it. Because resurrection never looks like glory in the beginning. It looks like a grave. Jesus was chosen, and he walked straight into misunderstanding, into the wilderness, into the cross. Why would you expect your path to be paved in roses? The chosen life is the crucified life, but it is also the resurrected life. Your gift is not your career. Your calling is not a title. Your purpose is not something you chase. It's something you carry. And it's heavy because it's holy. You were never meant to chase success. You were meant to embody significance. And significance isn't found in what you do. It's found in who you become when you stop performing and start transforming. You are not late. You are not lost. You are in divine process. Every detour was part of the map. Every delay was divine alignment. Every disappointment was a redirection from the counterfeit to the real. But now the question is no longer, am I chosen? It's, am I ready to live like I am? So what does living as the chosen look like in a world that expects you to keep playing small? That's what we'll uncover in the next block.